Hi and welcome back to C1Risk training. Today we're looking at the enterprise module and we're going to give you a quick overview and tell you how to set up your assets. So the great thing about C1Risk and the OneRisk platform is you actually can inventory and manage all of your assets in the platform. And we do that in a couple of different ways. You have both the directory where you can add all of your employees as well as users on the platform. And then you have an assets module where you can add all of your different assets and break them out by type. So these types can be entirely configured based upon what you have. And in terms of asset types, what we're talking about here is anything logical or physical that belongs to the organization. So that can be anything from a laptop to a firewall, servers, systems, business units, applications, your brands, your products, copiers, anything that you see here. And note that we also consider those third party, that supply chain, the vendor, as an asset here. And you can see our training for vendor management for more specific details on how we manage vendors. But no, we have a full onboarding through decommissioning security review process for third-party supply chain management as well. So you can see that in our vendor management training module. Okay. So we'll start by adding asset types to the platform and know that you can do this very, very easily yourself. So as an administrator, you just want to come to your administration tab here, and then we're going to click on assessment types, and it'll show you what you've already got in your system, and then you can simply go to our asset type library and do a lookup to add more, and then just grab the assets that you want to add to your asset inventory here. So I'm just going to add a couple more here, and then we'll just click apply. And now you'll see that these are all listed. So we've added a few more to our asset types here. And then what we're going to do is within each of these, we're going to add records. So these are the actual specific assets that we're going to add. So let's just click into this and we'll see the details. And once you've added this, you're always going to get a summary based on the information that you've added to that asset. So let's start by going to the details page first. So this is where you're going to put in the information about your asset. So we'll just click edit here and see this. And right here we've got a basic asset record, which just has the name and description of the asset, who it belongs to. And note we can also connect our assets to other assets inside the organization, so we can create downstream and upstream links, and that's actually going to help you with your risk analytics, because we'll look at assets and how they're related and the impact of those assets as they roll up together. Okay, so once you've created your put in your information about your asset, you can just click save. And then what we're going to be able to do is your summary then will start to change based upon the risks that you associate to this asset. So as you can see, we don't have any here right now, but what we're ultimately going to do is create our risk register here, and then we'll associate those risks to our assets. And then based upon those risks, in that risk register, you're also going to connect any controls that you have to combat those risks. Those internal controls will be automatically pulled into your asset and your risk register from your risk register. So they'll automatically connect to the asset as you build them out. And then finally, if you have any issues or findings that are related to those assets, you can connect those findings. Again, those issues can come from different sources. You can create them in the system here. They may come from an assessment or from a vulnerability scanner, so on and so forth. All of that can be integrated into your assets, so you can bring all that data in, and then you can manage that from the asset itself or from the findings tab. So, and then once you've got all of that in, you'll start to see, based upon the number of internal controls that you have, your control strength will change. Based upon the risks that you attach, your your residual risk is going to change, and that's actually going to affect your impact score later on, and as well, of course, as the actual issues that you're managing and where you are in the process of managing them. So that's actually how we build out your asset profile. So if you've been following the trainings, you've heard us talk about asset, risk, controls, issues. Well, here is the embodiment of that. So it's really knowing which assets are in scope for security, what are the risks associated to those assets, which controls do you have in place based upon the risks that you have, and where have you actually got issues. And then based on that, we're going to do analytics to help you really strengthen your program. Okay, one last thing we want to mention then is we showed you just a basic asset type there, but know that these asset records are also completely configurable to you. So I'm just going to go to our vendor asset here and open our record. So here you can see, if I go into the details tab, that we have multiple other fields. So as well as the name and description, here we've got the type of company that it is, the onboarding status, so on and so forth. We can put the tier of the vendor in, of course, if you're tiering vendors by levels 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on how large a company you are. And so basically these asset records can be configured the way you want them. If you want to add the model number to your laptops, if you want to add a field for spend that you have against that asset, all of that can be easily configured, and we'll do that with you during the onboarding process. So we'll both help you bring in your asset types and make sure every one of those records is configured the way that you need it to be, so you've got all of the information you need in there. Okay, so once you've got your asset inventory in, you're really on the road, and the next step would obviously, from our perspective, would be building out your risk register. But there's lots of different ways that you can build out in C1Risk, but this is the value of your enterprise assets platform. You can do quality access review. There's lots of different things that you're able to do from your asset directory, and we're going to show you that through the other trainings in this module. Thanks very much, and have a great day.